Welcome, everybody, to the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Channel. My name is Ross Benjamin. I'm your host, and it is Wednesday, January the 17th. And like every Wednesday morning, I am joined by my two colleagues, esteemed colleagues at that, Mr. Jesse Schule, Mr. Sean Higgs, all of us of our sponsor site, which is gamblersworld.net. And there, folks, you'll find not only us three, but 7 other great handicappers where we give you our guarantee that if you don't win, you don't make a profit on single game and multi-game daily packages, as well as subscription plans of 30 days or less. You will get a credit, which is the exact amount of your purchase price, not a refund, folks, a credit. Let's be clear about that because the subject has come up over the last 2 days, and we just want to clarify that once again, and like we do every day. So in any event, Jesse, how are you?
Doing well, Ross. Officially, I have cooled off with college hoops officially now. I did have a split yesterday with my premium picks, though, and did hit a nice NHL play. And, nothing disastrous and looking forward to the weekend. As I mentioned yesterday, Wild Card weekend was kind to me and looking forward to the divisional round and managed to get a shave today. Went to the gym, already had a bottle of wine, so I'm feeling not bad.
Yeah. No steak today?
We had, what did we have? Pork kebab with Arab bread.
All right.
Tzatziki sauce.
So Jesse's quite the chef, by the way, folks. He's a connoisseur on steaks and how to make them on the grill. And if you ever want any recommendations, reach out to Jesse. He'll be more than willing to get back to it. And I mean that sincerely. He will. He'll tell you. He's got everything down to a science. One guy who's got something down to the science and hasn't cooled off in college basketball is Mr. Higgs. He went 6-1 yesterday with his premium picks at the site in college basketball. And Sean, how are you?
Not too bad. And unlike Jesse, I am a picky fat guy eater. I'm just give me the meat. I sometimes season it. I've never had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I mean, I'm just a weird guy. I don't like pasta, and I'm Italian. Anyway, yeah. Let's talk. I want to say, Ross, we talked off air. I had to go to the YouTube channel. The guy said the old timer's going 3. I had to say, listen, young timer, you young guy got to get your ears checked, fella. At BYU. I'm carrying the show right now. Come on. What are you talking about?
Jesse liked the under in that game as an opinion because we all give our opinions on each pick. But our official pick on that game was BYU, and they won handily.
And then there was that Philly comment. Nobody had the Eagles.
We didn't have the Eagles. No. I think somebody missed. A guy chimed in and said, you guys almost had Philly because of our discussion yesterday. Not one of us had the Eagles, guys.
I was trying to be diplomatic about poking fun at anybody who actually bet on the Eagles is what I was doing.
Yeah. So anyway.
Can't have a discussion. Can you have a discussion
by
about
the way,
something and people think we bet it?
Yeah. The other loser we had, I had Baylor. And they blew a 5-point lead with less than a minute to go in overtime. Lost by 9. Or by 4, excuse me. They got outscored 9-0 in the last 55 seconds of overtime. So very close to a 2-1, but it's 1-2. Hey, you know what? We're not going to win every day, right, Sean? These people are crazy.
I say that every time, whether I'm winning or losing. Like, folks, stop seeing this fake nonsense all over social media. Like every day is a 7-0 day or some.
No.
That's why that's why they're going to work every morning. Or, you keep trying to hit that lottery ticket. Just play the lottery at the corner store. Just buy that. It's the same kind of luck. You think you're gonna win this every 7 days a week, 5-0 every day.
Yeah. Doesn't happen, and we do it on a daily basis, and we've been doing it for quite a long time on a daily basis. And this is our full-time job. So we're doing something right, but we all know, and we've tried to profess this to you guys, nobody wins every day. Nobody hits 75% for the year. And please save your breath if you're going to chime in and say you do, because you're so full of baloney. It's unbelievable. And everybody else that wants to chime in and tell me how good they do over a long period of time, show me where you get documented like us, okay? When we tell you a record, it's documented at independent sources, not only at gamblersworld.net, sports capping, we're all on. So we're all on picks and parlays. That's all
Russ,
documented, folks.
you load this video up. It's up by noon at the latest, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you can come in anytime before then and say who you like today, minus the point spread. Don't come in at 10:30 when the game's final. Oh, yeah, I had this game. That's easy to do. All right, man, I'm undefeated.
The other guy who made the old guy reference, Sean, said that don't you know you always should play college basketball home underdogs. Well, there's a foundational truth to that, but by no brain in it,
all the way.
Yeah,
didn't work for me.
I wish it were that easy. Anyway, all right, we're going to be discussing.
First game yesterday, Samford and Western Carolina. I think Western Carolina was like a pick'em spot. Like you take the home team there. It's a pick'em. Yeah, they lose by they lose outright. I mean,
yeah, a couple of 15-2 teams, by the way. 15. I think they were both 15-2. So
Indiana
West
really
Carolina
good
team, even though they lost yesterday, is a pretty good team, and Samford as well. So, good point, Sean. Excellent point. Yeah, and like I said, I mean, Kansas State was. It was a pick 'em, or they were a short dog, and I also had yesterday Texas A&M on money line as a small money line favorite, and they came back from 20 down, and this is on my premium side, and Arkansas hit a buzzer beater with less than 1 second to go. So it happens, but trust me, folks, it's not that easy as just always take college basketball home underdogs. Anyway, we're talking college basketball today. By the way, Jesse's going to be looking at Texas Tech and Houston. I'll be looking at Creighton, or Sean will be looking at Creighton and UConn, and I'll be looking at the SEC battle between Mississippi State and Kentucky. Jesse, Texas Tech coming off a nice win at home by 1, I believe. And anyway, tell us what you got on this game, because Houston is a heavy favorite here, minus 13, 129.5. But Houston, as good as they are, they're starting to find out playing nightly and daily, whatever way you want to term it, in the Big 12 is a little more difficult than playing in the American Athletic Conference, with no disrespect intended. Jesse, what do you got?
Yeah, so I guess the Red Raiders come in off 9 straight wins, actually, Ross. Not just that thriller against Kansas State, but 9 straight wins. And Cougars coming off back-to-back losses, yet they're a huge favorite here at home. I got to stay away from the side. I'm going to look at the total. First glance, 129.5. I know everybody's going to be like, oh, man, that's a low number. Got to go over that number. But, of course, I'm going to make an argument for the under here. Unlike yesterday's game that we talked about with Iowa State and BYU, 2 teams that were sort of borderline middle of the pack in pace of play, these are 2 of the slowest teams in the country. You got Houston. They rank 348th among 363 teams, 348th in possessions per game, averaging 66 possessions per game. The Red Raiders just slightly faster, 289th. They're averaging 68.8 points per game. So what you have is a slow team with a willing dance partner, and that's the key, because when you have a slow-paced team and they're playing against a team that wants to push it, you can have that style that they want to play could be nullified. But when you got 2 teams that are very content to play that style of game, often you get scores 56 to 55 and that kind of stuff. And we've seen that recently for both these teams. Texas Tech only allows 64.8 points per game this season. Houston's allowing just 51.4 points per game. That must be like number 1 in the country. If not, it's going to be close. But Houston coming off back-to-back road losses. They scored 53 at Iowa State and 67 at TCU. I know everybody's expecting them to blow out the Red Raiders here. I'm not going to get on that train. I think a blowout is going to look 65 to 55 would be a blowout, in my opinion. And I'm going to go under that 129.5 despite the low total.
They say when totals are that high or totals are that low, it's for good reason. And it's certainly for good reason in this matchup. You're looking at a Houston team right now, number 1 nationally in defensive efficiency. and also giving up 85.4 points per game per 100 offensive possessions by opponents. They're also number one in turnover percentage, meaning they turn the opposition over on 26.6% of their offensive possessions. So this team gets after it on the defensive end, as Jesse alluded to, two of the slower paced teams in the country. And you look at Houston, their defensive numbers, number 6 in 3-point percentage defense, number 1 in 2-point percentage defense, let's see here. They do foul a lot. That's the only thing that I see as a drawback, and that's from their aggressive style. But anyway, Sean, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I got to look at Texas Tech here with the big number, and Houston, as Jesse said, it's the Big 12, and in years past, you'd come and have a outlier versus the bigger school, right? And they'd come in and play somebody and battle them tough, and be like, wow, look at that, they went on the road and went to wherever last year and played a Power 5 team and win by 6 or lose by 3, and you're like, oh, they're a pretty good squad. Well, now you're facing teams like that every week with Houston. So, or not every week. I still think it's football weekly things, but multiple times, and you see the scores here. Yeah, it's tough, right? We say every week, but they're playing 2 games a week or whatever. But you got your drift here. I'm going to take the point. It's a lot of points for a defensive team, especially a team that's, again, the last 2 games, again, on the road. And we just talked about winning on the road is tough, for teams traveling. But getting a dozen points when you're a defensive team as well, I'll lean here towards the doggies here. Give me the 12 points.
All right, so that's right. It's actually 13, but yeah, I got a 13 here for you if you like the dog. But check your lines, 12 or 13. I mean, if Sean's giving you a 12, he certainly likes it at 13.
13, yeah.
So at both numbers, but yeah, our official pick here is from Jesse, and it goes on the Texas Tech and Houston game to go under the total of 129.5.
I'll also
Sean,
say, Ross, that I think those two are correlating. Those are correlating results. I think if Texas Tech gets the cover, we're probably looking at a lower scoring game. And if Houston does cover the 12, it'll probably go over. So I think those two outcomes sort of correlate.
Yeah, they do. Because if you're going to lay to 13 with Houston, you're going to be asking, and you need the under as well. You're going to be asking Houston to basically, they're going to have to hold them to less than 60 anyway.
Exactly. We need like 30% shooting percentage. Hold them to the 30.
Right. I mean, they could score below 60 and still cover the game, Texas Tech, because of Houston's not exactly playing at a fast pace. And again, you look at Houston; they lose their last 2, like we alluded to, and it's no mistake that those are two of the higher rated teams they've played in the country, according to KenPom. So when they've had to step up in class, especially on the road, which they're not tonight, but we'll see how Houston fares. I'm very interested to see how they do throughout the course of the Big 12 schedule, because they are a quality team, but they're not going to be able to dominate like they have in years past with their style of play. The Big 12 is notoriously, if not the best conference in the country, it's certainly one of the 2. All right, Sean, let's take a look at your game, and it's a really good Big East matchup between Creighton and UConn. Right now, UConn's a 6-point home favorite in this contest with a total of 144. What do you got for us?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, definitely this is not a Houston team going like 34-3. That's not definitely exactly. Not on the agenda with this guy. So here we go. We're going to dog it up again. Give me Creighton here. They've, I like UConn. I think UConn's a really good team. Purdue. I kind of like North Carolina. I think's a Final Four type team, cut down the net. But I like the way that, and it's again, UConn. You lose to Kansas on the road, true road game, in a game they probably could have won. If that's on a neutral, maybe you get some little friendlier refs and you don't lose that 1-4. Maybe it's a little closer. You pull that one out. And then they lose at the Hall after they just destroy Gonzaga basically in a home game for Gonzaga. They really laid it to them and eased up. But then this is why I do like Creighton. I'll be betting Creighton today. You followed that up with a close game versus St. John's. They beat DePaul. They beat Georgetown. Again, two bad teams. Kind of close wins against Butler as well, I believe they played. Let me pull it up. I had it up and then I changed the screen here. Butler and Xavier, closer games.
Yeah, they
Butler
covered
Xavier,
that game
right?
at Butler. Yeah,
They
they were
did,
minus 6 in that game, and they covered.
6, they won by 7. And the other game, it was like they won by 5 against Xavier. I think the line was like 4.5. So kind of closer kind of games. And I think that their big man, they got a good sophomore, Clingington. I can't pronounce. I don't know.
He's been out, but is he back?
He's been out. He's a possible, but it's a nice boost. But I don't know if I want to lay the points here. Creighton's beat these guys. They've won 6 out of 7 versus teams, so they're not intimidated by the Huskies. And 6 points to me here, 6.5 points. I'll take give me the dog here until I get a full blown. Again, UConn has blown out teams, but that was a healthy UConn team. Nursing the guy back. I don't know. I mean, you can't tell me Creighton's not going to be pumped up to play the number 1 team. On the road, on the moon, it doesn't make a difference. They're going to come and give it full effort. I'm going to take the points here. Like my dogs. That's it.
All right. So the game is not being played on the moon, but it is being played at UConn. And
it's
Sean
in stores. It's in stores.
Yeah.
They didn't
go
anywhere else. All
right. Anyway, Jesse, what's your thought about this game that's being played on Earth?
Well, I agree with Sean based on the history, but the history tells another story, and I'm going to focus on that, and that's the total. While Creighton has had their number, they've also gone under. They've gone under in 5 straight head-to-head meetings, and tonight's total is higher than it was in any of those 5 previous games. And you look at UConn. Yeah, they played it. They lost 69-65 to Kansas. They won 76-63 over Gonzaga. So they're when they're playing good teams, they're playing low scoring games. Creighton won last year at home 56-53, and UConn won 69-60 when they were at home last year. So low scoring games have been the trend. 144. I saw some 144.5s on the board. It looks like the total's a couple points too high to me.
Yeah, and all good points, Jesse. I mean, you look at the analytics on this game, and both of these teams, in terms of offensive efficiency, are tremendous. I mean, Connecticut's number 3 in that category, averaging 123.4 points scored per 100 offensive possessions. And then you look at Creighton, they're at 116.3. That's ranked number 24 nationally in offensive efficiency. However, both teams are very underrated defensively, too. I mean, Creighton especially. Creighton's number 12 nationally in defensive efficiency, and Connecticut is around 45. So that's pretty darn good. Now, the key here, too, Jesse, and something you didn't bring up, and I'm sure you looked at, was both of these teams' offensive tempo. They play at a snail's pace. These are not teams that play up tempo. But Sean, your thoughts?
I mean, I would do what Jesse did. I look at the recent history between these squads, all those scoring games. Why wouldn't that trend continue?
Yeah. So all right, but
it wasn't something I looked at, so I wasn't. My thing was.
No, I didn't mean to catch you off guard.
No, that's all right.
Yeah.
No, that's listen. I'm I hit total sometimes, not as often as Jesse does, but even overall, Creighton has gone under 8 of their 10 in these, even a couple in the 150s, but still, that tells me that the numbers have been a little overinflated towards their team anyway. So why not ride the under here?
Yeah, and by the way, folks, my college basketball total since 2022, since Sean brought it up, 64% over that course of time. That's all documented right over at sportscapping.com. All right, my game, Mississippi State and Kentucky. The game will be played in Lexington, and Mississippi State, they're at a tail end of a difficult 3-game stretch. Right now, let me give you the line here. Kentucky is -7. They opened at 5.5, and The total 154, and Jesse, the total went from 156 to 154. We'll see if you have any thoughts on that. But let me get to the official pick at hand here, and I'm going to use the side in this game. Mississippi State's on the tail end of a difficult 3-game stretch in which they played. And again, I go by the KenPom ratings. I don't go by the human ratings. They played number 4 Tennessee and number 7 Alabama in their last 2 games. Both of those games were played at home. They split those games. The previous game was against Alabama. They lost that game 82-74. Prior to those 2 matchups, though, they hadn't faced anybody in the top 50 of KenPom ratings. So they did step up in class. They split. I guess it's okay, but you were at home. Mississippi State, on the other hand, also they're 0-2 straight up in ATS and true road games this year. They lose 68-62 at South Carolina and 67-59 at Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech, by the way, pulled off a huge upset yesterday at Clemson. Kentucky, on the other hand, are coming off a loss. 97-92 overtime loss at A&M. And this is just an excellent offensive team, Kentucky. Number 8 in offensive efficiency, number 7 in three-point shooting at 39.8%, number 3 in turnover percentage, which means that they only turn the ball over 12.8% of their offensive possessions. You know why that's impressive? More impressive to me, folks, is this is a Kentucky team that plays at one of the fastest tempo in the country. I believe they're number 12 in offensive tempo out of 363 teams. So to play that fast and take care of the ball that well is a sign of a very good and disciplined team to me. Compare that to Mississippi State, who turns the ball over on 18.8% of their offensive possessions, which is number 205 in the country. And like I said, that's not exactly against the toughest schedule in the country that they've faced thus far. I think that will be a determining factor in not only Kentucky's ability to win, but to cover the spread. And I like Kentucky on their home floor, coming off a loss especially. They're going to be smarting a little bit. And this is a Mississippi State team that I don't think is as good as their record indicates. And I also think they're not as good as their defensive ratings indicate. Because if you look at statistically and analytically, this is a good defensive team, Jesse. But we saw when they had to step up in class for the first time inside the top 50 against Tennessee and Alabama, they gave up 77 points per game. So your take.
Well, when I first looked at the game, I think it opened at -5.5, and it's been bet up a little bit. And, I want to find a way to be on Kentucky. They're 9-1 at home. They've won 9 of the last 10 head-to-head meetings against Mississippi State. I'm a little bit troubled by how close these two teams have played in recent meetings. Kentucky's won 3 of the last 4. 2 of those 3 wins for Kentucky came in games that went to overtime. Average margin of victory for Kentucky, about 4.5 points per game. I think Kentucky's the play. I just think based on the line movement, I might have missed the boat as far as whether I would play it or not.
Yeah, I'm not going to let that line move scare me. It's only 1.5, but you make a good point, Jesse. But in terms of head-to-head matchups, Sean, of any teams that I don't put a lot of emphasis on head-to-head matchups in past years, it's Kentucky because of all the one-and-dones they've had over the years and the lack of continuity on the roster from year to year. Anyway, your thoughts, Sean?
Yeah, no, it's still Kentucky. I just mentioned I think Kentucky's a pretty good team. These guys really good. This is a team I try to avoid early in the year because of the one-and-done situation, and guys got to come in, gel a little bit, and it's Kentucky, so they'll always be kind of overinflated. It takes a little time for them to get going, but yeah, I mean, I'd lay 10 here, honestly. I mean, I like Kentucky a lot. I think they'll only get better as the season goes on.
Yeah, I think this is a tough matchup for Mississippi State. I think they're an NCAA tournament team, but like I said, I just don't see them being, especially on the road against a quality team. So, look, if they step up and they even cover this game, I'll take notice, and I'll certainly tip my hat to them. But I'm going to go with Kentucky here, -7. Sean likes Creighton, plus the 6 at UConn. And Mr. Schule, he likes Texas Tech and Houston. He says, don't be scared of that low number. Go under that total of 129.5. Jesse, tell the folks a little bit about what's going on with Mr. Schule over at gamblersworld.net and anything they need to know as to why they should spend their hard-earned money on Jesse the Jewel Schule.
Well, I'll just keep on beating the drum when it comes to the NBA because I do have another NBA total up for sale today, and 5 straight winning years with the NBA in the playoffs. Pretty serious positive units over the last 5 years with all NBA throughout the regular season and the playoffs. Wild card weekend was successful for me. I'm starting to climb up the leaderboards with the NFL overall for the season, last 30 days, etc. You'll see me prominently featured on the leaderboards at gamblersworld.net and other sites that we're on. And we'll have plenty of plays for this weekend in NFL and NBA.
All right, Mr. Schule, he backs up what he says, and the numbers will back him up as well. Like I always like to say, folks, numbers don't lie and liars don't figure. And speaking of which, Mr. Higgs, off a nice day yesterday and starting to heat up in college basketball. Like I warned all you folks last week, he may be hovering around the 50% mark, but watch out when he gets hot. And it's starting to resemble that type of thing that may be occurring as we speak, Sean.
Yeah, nice. I'm seeing here last 30 days, 58%. Not too bad. That's 138 college basketball games. And just from the 1st of January, I think I'm overall 78 and 53 or something. That's a nice little run. I don't try to get too wrapped up because I do get streaky. Like, so when they're all going good, if I'm going 4-2 in NBA or hockey for a week or 3-1, whatever, we start hitting a couple of those, it really starts adding up, and it's been like that so far. So we keep it going. I got a 3-pack of college hoops up for today. I do have 2 NFL picks up for the weekend. I haven't put a package up yet because I start putting up packages, and like Ross said, they go buy things, and there'll be nobody else. There'll be a bunch of my packages. That's listen.
Especially when you're hot. When you're hot, whoever's got the best record in the last 30 days goes up on the site first. And when you're hot, and with all the packages you give out, you have to scroll down about a foot and a half to get to our picks. Anyway, go ahead.
But even hot or not, I usually don't put the NFL up to like a Thursday or Friday anyway, because sometimes I'll have like 2 packages up for a weekend. College basketball, whether I have 3 games or 12 games, there'll just be a 3-pack up because I'm not just this, I want you to get on, like we always say, long-term deal is going to weigh itself out better for you. So, if it goes 1-2, I feel bad because then you go to the site and say, how'd this guy go 7-2 yesterday? I had the 2 losers. It's whatever. You got to figure it out, people. I can't hold your hand and come to your house and do it for you. Just get a weekly pass. They got promo codes. Whether me or anybody else, I don't understand. Like, one game does not like, oh, look at us, I had a great day. Well, try having a great month. That's tough enough. Yeah. A great year. Yeah. I mean, have 7 super years like Jesse when he rolls out his identical records for years on end. I mean, like, that's next to impossible to do. All right, so stop it, folks. You can't do this. You can't. Just buy the weekly passes and grind out some nice little money for you.
Right. Having a great year is one thing, and it's impressive. You look, when you consider less than 1% of the gambling public makes a profit for the year who bets anywhere from 3 to 5 days a week, and you look at Jesse's consistency over the last 7 years, that's the difference between a pro and somebody who's just on maybe a hot run or has a decent year. So good point by Sean, and Jesse brought that up yesterday, and we're going to put the star on the forehead for him. He doesn't have to do it on his own. Sean, very good. Last 7 days, 38-20, 65.5%. Last 30 days, 134 and 106. So real nice run. Last 90 days, he's made, based on $100 bet per unit, he's made $5,336. And keep an eye on Chip Chirimbus as well, folks. I know he's been out with health conditions, but he still continues to post winners. Over the last 90 days, Chip Chirimbus has 201 and 163, and he's made his clients based on $100 bet per unit, $12,149. That's tremendous, and he's certainly closed the gap in terms of overall since the site started. He's now just $1,100 behind me, who I've cooled off, and he's extremely hot right now. And that's the way it goes in this business. Sean told you, we don't win every day, and we all have our hot streaks, and we all have our bad runs. But for the most part, we have a hell of a lot more hot streaks than we have bad runs. Went 3-2 in the NFL playoffs this past weekend. Feel good about this weekend coming up. And also college basketball cooled off a bit, but still around 57% over the last year or so. NBA had a nice 10-star top player, I should say a 4-unit top play winner yesterday, as I had Sacramento plus 4.5. I was able to cover that game, Sean, despite the fact that they blew a 17-point lead with 5 minutes to go and lost the game outright.
Yes.
Only in the NBA, man. So anyway, I looked at that score to smart. That can't be right, because the last time I actually never do this. Well, so when I'm grading the plays at my site, they're up 17 with 5 minutes to go, and I'm catching 4.5. I put it up as a winner. I looked this morning. That can't be right. That can't be right. They lost by 2, and certainly they did, but they did cover the 4.5. Anyway, welcome to our world of sports betting. Anyway, folks, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, take a second to do so. You'll see a black subscribe button right underneath your video box. Just click on that. It's absolutely free to do so. If you're on your PC, there's a WC logo in the bottom right-hand corner of your page. That serves the same purpose. Just click on that. That will also get you subscribed for free. There's absolutely no strings attached. There's no hidden agenda, folks. It's absolutely free to subscribe, so why wouldn't you do so? You're watching because you like sports betting. And in addition, if you have subscribed already, and we appreciate all of you out there who have, or if you're a new subscriber, take that extra second to go into your YouTube settings and click on the alert notification bell for the Winner's Circle Sports Betting channel, and you'll be notified upon any of our 6 broadcasts or podcasts going up on a weekly basis on our great channel. Jesse, there's a like button right underneath.
Smash the like button.
Smash that like button, folks, or you can even just tap it, whatever you prefer. But don't follow Chip's instructions and hit it twice, because that washes out a like. In any event, we are old, right, Sean? So anyway, anyway, until the next time, I will be back tomorrow with Doug Upstone. Jesse and Sean will be back with me on Friday for our live edition. Don't forget, folks, put in your calendar, live show, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And what's great about that, folks, is you're able to comment and ask questions and give your opinions, and we'll respond to as many of you as possible in a very timely manner and time permitting. So get down early, watch the show, chime in with your questions and comments. It's your opportunity to talk to us directly and not on archive, where we don't know when we can get back to you on your comments. Until then, for Jesse, Schule, Sean Higgs, and Ross Benjamin, take care and God bless, folks.